When the Cold War ended in 1991, many believed the world was finally entering a peaceful era. But instead, Europe saw one of its bloodiest conflicts since World War II, the Bosnian War. For Americans, the war became unforgettable because of its haunting images, ethnic cleansing, starving civilians, and massacres that echoed the horrors of the Holocaust. It was a test of whether the United States would act not just to defend borders, but to defend humanity itself. The war began with the breakup of Yugoslavia, a multi-ethnic nation held together for decades under communist rule. When Bosnia declared independence in 1992, violence erupted between Bosnian Muslims, Bosniaks, Croats, and Serbs. What started as a civil war soon turned into a nightmare. Serbian forces, backed by the Yugoslav army, launched brutal campaigns of ethnic cleansing, forcing entire communities from their homes, imprisoning civilians in camps, and carrying out mass killings. For US audiences watching on television, the scenes were heart-wrenching: emaciated prisoners behind barbed wire, families fleeing burning villages, and the city of Sarajevo under siege, where civilians endured daily shelling and sniper fire for nearly 4 years. The worst atrocity came in 1995, at Srebrenica, where over 8,000 Bosniak men and boys were massacred in what the world would later recognize as genocide. At first, the US and Europe hesitated. Many Americans wondered why their sons and daughters should fight in a distant Balkan conflict. But as the images of atrocities grew impossible to ignore, pressure mounted. President Bill Clinton, who had faced criticism for earlier inaction, finally decided the US had to lead. The turning point came in 1995, when NATO, heavily led by the US, launched Operation Deliberate Force, a powerful air campaign against Bosnian Serb positions. American jets struck military targets, breaking the siege of Sarajevo and forcing the aggressors to the negotiating table. For US pilots and soldiers, it was a dangerous mission, flying through hostile skies with anti-aircraft fire below. For families back home, every news update carried both pride and worry. The intervention culminated in the Dayton Peace Accords, negotiated in Ohio later that year, where US diplomacy finally ended the war. Bosnia was divided into autonomous regions, and peace, though fragile, was restored. For US audiences, the Bosnian War is remembered with a heavy heart but also with pride. The pain comes from the haunting knowledge of how far atrocities had gone before action was taken. The pride comes from the fact that, when the US finally stepped in, it saved lives and stopped genocide. Unlike Vietnam, this was not about geopolitics alone, it was about standing up for human rights and preventing another Holocaust in Europe. The emotional weight of Bosnia is still felt today. Many Americans remember the images of Sarajevo, the relief of civilians cheering when NATO planes arrived.